Hello everybody and welcome to this week's Easy 11 Plus live lesson from me and from Dimitri, who's extremely fluffy at the moment because it turns out my wife's a bit allergic to him, so I've had to groom him twice a day to make sure that he doesn't shed too many furs everywhere. And that means that he is just massively fluffy all the time. Ridiculously massively fluffy, as well as kind of massive, even though, don't nibble me, even though he's still a kitten. Don't nibble me because then I have to put you outside, like bad boys deserve. Uh-oh, we have Dimitri on the attack. Better put it. Look how angry he looks. Look at that. Angry cats. Better put him down. Don't forget to check out all the links in the video description. Don't forget to investigate Easy 11 Plus channel memberships, where you get loads of extra benefits and you get loads of extra videos and so on and so forth. There's a video list with all my videos in the video description, and that shows you which videos are available to everybody and which videos are just for channel members. It's very inexpensive and it gives you a lot of extra stuff. If you want to take part in the live chat today, that's for subscribers only. Subscribing is completely free. Just click subscribe under the video and you can take part in the live chat straight away. You might subscribe anyway. It means you find out what's going on the channel and just makes it all more useful. The worksheet for today's lesson is in the video description. That will do. Let's get started. Let's see what's happening actually in some of the comments. First of all, people saying hi, hello everybody, and hello. Everyone's calling me a cutie pie and cute. That's wonderful to read. Thank you. People demanding shout outs. No, you don't. Yeah. Adria finished her exams, but is still here. Fantastic. Wonderful to have you here. Thank you for your dedication, Dimitri, and I really appreciate it. Let's get going. Let's do some maths. So we're working through a maths past paper from City of London School for Boys, but it's also got loads of, the questions are really typical of any 11 plus maths exam. So it doesn't really matter whether you're preparing for City or not. These should be very useful. What I'm going to do, I've split this into 3 worksheets. So we're going to do it over the next 3 weeks. And today we're going to do questions 1 to 10. Let's get started. So for this question, you can do rough working on the left-hand side of the page if you required. So here's my rough working. See? Very dedicated, doing some useful rough working there. No, that is not what's required. You need to be sketching or working for these questions. Aha, now I see what they mean. 2.74 times 10,000. Well, if you need to times something by 10, what do? You either add a 0 or you move the decimal point 1 place, right? If you times by 100, you're in 2 places. If you times it by 10,000, how many noughts are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. You're moving it 1, 2, 3, 4 places. Nazarene says, I swear that you have done this paper before. Nazarene, I swear that I have not. Or I am going really batty in my extreme old age. So we got 2.74, but we need to move the decimal point 4 places. So 1, 2 gets it to there, and then 2 more places. But moving the decimal point further to the right means adding zeros and getting rid of the decimal point there. And that's what we're left with, 27,400. Now, there is also, I tend to put that into make clear it isn't a 1. There's also a common sense check here, as you could call it. So this is 2 and a bit lots of 10,000. 2 lots of 10,000 would be 20,000. 3 lots of 10,000 would be 30,000. So the answer needs to be somewhere between 20,000 and 30,000, which you can see it is. It's 27,000 and something. So that kind of common sense check is really important so that you don't make a mistake by just moving the decimal point the wrong amount or adding the wrong number of zeros or whatever it might be. Now, 13 squared. You could calculate this. You could do 13 times 13. That would be fine. However, you really should know your squared times table up to this point. 13 times 13 is 169. That's a fact that you ought to know. You ought to know 11 times 11, 12 times 12, 13 times 13, at least, and probably up to 15 times 15, I would say. It'll save you a lot of time in a lot of situations. The square root of 49 is. So do you know what a square root is? You should do. If you're close to your exam, and if you're not, this is where you learn. The square root is whatever you times by itself to get 49. So what times itself gives 49? So for example, 5 times itself, 5 times 5 is 25. So what times what is 49? 7 times 7 is 49. Okay, basic times table knowledge. So the square root is 7. It's the number that you times by itself to get 49. 7 squared equals 49. Not that you need to write this working, I'm just putting it there to make clear what I'm on about. Okay, cube root of 125 is, so if a square root is, for example, 7 times 7 gives something. Something cubed would be 7 times 7 times 7. Okay, 49 times 7 is way too big. What about 3? 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 is 27. Okay, 4 times 4, 16 times 4, 64. 5 cubed, 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5, well, we can do this quickly. 25 times 10 is 250. Half of that is 125. The cube root of 125 is 5 because 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. Okay? You can certainly work it out to the side, but I think that one's okay to do mentally, partly because once you've done a lot of mental maths, you probably know that. 4 cubed, we dealt with this already. 4 times 4 is 16. Then 16 times 4 times 2 is 32. Double that again, 64. So we're romping through these. 240 divided by 300. Okay, simplest form. So 24 over 30. What goes into 24 and 30? Well, I can see they both divide by 2, so why not? It's easy. 12 over 15. What goes into both of these? 3 does. How many times does 3 go into 12? It goes in 4 times. It goes into 15 5 times. 4/5. Okay, they're not marking our working, so it doesn't matter that it's messy like this. It's clear to me. They're marking the answers here, clearly. They say you can do rough working, but there are 8 marks and there are 8 answers, so it's very evident that there's just a mark per answer, and it doesn't matter if your working is messy, it's just to help you. 25% of 68. Now, you could start doing this form and you could say 68 times 0.25 and work it out, or you could do 68 over 1 times 25 over 100, which of course is 1 over... You could do all that stuff, but I don't think you really should, because by the time you have some familiarity with basic percentages, you should know that 25% means a quarter. What's a quarter of 68? Well, half of 68 is 34, and half of 34 is... Oh, I squeaked. Half of 34 is 17. Easy peasy. Once you're used to some basic percentage values. People, can you stop spamming the comments, please? Dork for life and Simra. It's really annoying and it stops other people commenting. Thank you. 43 times 38. The shortcuts here are not short. The shortest way to do this is to solve it, in my opinion. 43 times 38. Do it as a simple multiplication. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. 34. 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 4 is 12, and then we add it together, 4, 13, carry the 1, 6, 1, 6, 3, 4, 1, 6, 3, 4, and there we have it, okay? So these, when you can use mental arithmetic for these, and the mental arithmetic is reliable, then use it. There's no reason not to. Otherwise, a quick bit of working will help to avoid mistakes. Oh yeah, one more thing to say. Just think about common sense check. For example, a quarter of 68, we worked out 17. Just double it back up quickly. 17 times 2 is 34, times 2 is 68. Yeah. Okay. 240 over 300, we said that's 4/5. Does that look about right? Yeah, it does look about right. 2.74 times 10,000. We said this is going to be between 2 lots of 10,000 and 3 lots of 10,000. Is it? Yes. Okay, so do those common sense checks, run through those as you go, just to make sure that you haven't gone miles out through some sort of transient craziness. Right, the calculated display below shows 2/9 as a decimal, and here's the display, it's 0.2 recurring, okay? Goes on and on and on. Complete the empty box to show how the calculator would display the answer to 2 over 900. You do not need to write your digits in the same style, so don't waste time going 2, 2, 2, dot, 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 line. Okay, we don't want any of that stuff. Just write 2, it's fine, okay? You have limited time in these exams, don't get carried away with a kind of misguided perfectionism. But you should use 10 digits, so we need to be careful with this. So we got 2/9, and the question is, can we work out 2/900 from that? What is the difference between 2/9 and 2/900? It's this. Okay, so the 900 has got bigger. 2/900 is 2 over 9 times 10, which is 90, times 10. In other words, our answer has been divided by 10 and divided by 10 again, because this is a dividing line. Okay? So what happens when we divide this by 10? We get 0.022 and so on. What happens when we divide it by another 10? We get 0.0022 and so on. But we have to use 10 digits. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 so far. So we need another 5 twos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do I have 10 in total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, I do. Okay. So we're golden or blue. Onwards. Libby Chinyelu says, I did not get this question. I hope you get it a little bit better now. So divided by 900 is just like divided by 9, but dividing by 100 more, which is the same as dividing by 10 twice. I've broken it down just to make it really simple. So when you're dividing it by 10 more, you're just adding zeros at the start after the decimal point. I buy 7 drinks at 72p each and 9 sandwiches at £1.21 each. How much change do I get from a £20 note? These questions are just annoying. It's not really a shortcut, you just have to work them out. So you pay with a £20 note, you bought all these things, how much money do you get back? In other words, how much is left over? So the first thing we need to work out is what you spend. 7 drinks at 72p each. Okay, let's do it all in pounds and pence to avoid complications. So we've got 0.72, which is 72p, times 7. Let's do that quickly. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 7 is 49. Carried the 1, 50, and 7 times 2, so 504. Okay, lovely. But we've also got the decimal point. So we do the quick check. In the question, which is this bit here, how many digits are there in total after decimal points? There's only one decimal point. There are 2 digits after it. So that's the answer, 2 in total. So we count 2 from the right in our answer. 1, 2, 5.04. Okay. Now we got £1.21 times 9. Yet more joys. £1.21 times 9. Don't you love doing this kind of working out? 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. Oh, yes, it is. 9 times 1 is 9. And we got under carried 1, so it's 1. The rapture continues, and we have 2 digits after a decimal point up here. So we count 2 from the right, and we have 1089. Yes, our happiness is complete. We are united in joy by this question. £10.89 plus £5.04. Well, of course, what you should do is write them out as a column addition, but because we are rebels, we're just going to do it mentally, and also because it's quite easy. £10 plus £5 is 15. 89 plus 4 is 93, so it's £15.93. Is that our answer? No, it isn't. Always check the question before you write your answer and move on. How much change? They made it bold and underlined it. If you miss that, you're a total numpty. We need to know the change, okay? So we give them 20. They take off what we need to pay, 15.93. What do we get? Yes, of course, you can do it as a subtraction, but again, it's quite easy. 16 to 20 is £4 and 7 pence. Don't do 4.7, that'd be £4.70. £4, 4.07, £4 and 7 pence. Don't forget the pound sign, except that you don't need to worry about it because they've given it to you. Isn't that nice? £4 and 7 pence. Oh, yes. Okay, look. This is one of these questions that once you know how to do it, oh, of course, it's easy. People who are spamming, please stop in the comments. Otherwise, I'll go through and I'll just ban you from ever commenting again because it's really annoying. So that's Balwinder, that's long word beginning new, and so on. Just stop doing it, please. It's really annoying. Okay. Let's start from the centre. So let's do the n backwards. So the n forwards would be like that, but that's not reflected, is it? That's just an n. A mirror reflection means you take it and you flip it. So if we flip this, we're going to have the same thing there. Then we're going to go up there, then down there. That's a flipped n. Then E, the tines of the fork point inwards. U, well, a Q, it's basically a circle with a dash across it, and that's going to be there. So everything has just been flipped. Everything we've taken has gone relatively straightforward, I think, especially because it's a just simple vertical line down the middle. Oh, I've got very itchy nose and it's Dimitri's furs. Excuse me. Oh, goodness me. I think I'm going to be sniffling away all through this lesson. Okay, A, I, these ones stay the same. R, there we are. Aurea, Toria, Victoria, Ictoria, Victoria, okay? And then we work out again, E, and then the E points in towards the middle. I think this is relatively straightforward, to be honest. But it's like all such things. It's straightforward when you know how to do it. S is hard to do, but just start the opposite way and then just follow it through. Simple as that. It doesn't need to be perfectly neat. It doesn't need to be a work of art. You're just showing that you understand how to reverse the letters. That's all this is really about. There are only 2 marks for it. The thing about things like this is you might be very artistic, you might be very meticulous. Do not waste time in making your answer artistic and meticulous. Just get it right and move on. That's exam smarts. Martin is given £240. Lucky chap. He gives an 1/8 to his sister and a 1/5 of what remains to his little brother, which is either very generous or very miserly, depending on the circumstances. We do not know. Let's assume it's generous because it's best to think well of people when we don't have any reason to do otherwise. So he gives an 1/8 to his sister and a 1/5 of what remains to his little brother. Okay, what's an 1/8 of 240? So 240 divided by 8. Well, we know that 24 divided by 8 is 3, don't we? 3 times 8 is 24, basic times tables. So this is just the same with a 0 on the end, 30. Okay, so times tables and an understanding of how to times by 10 gets us to the answer quite easily. So if he gives an 1/8 to his sister, that's £30. And what remains is 210. 240 minus 30. He gives a 1/5 of that to his little brother. How much does he keep? So what he keeps is 4/5 of 210. 4/5 of 210. Now, how do we get through these things? How do we get to 4/5? Well, he gives a 1/5 away. If you give a 1/5 of something away, what have you got left? Well, there are 5/5 in a whole. That's in the nature of being a 1/5, okay? So you've got 5/5, you give one of them away, how many you got left? 4, of course you do. So he's got 4/5 left. 4/5 left. That's quite a tongue and lip workout. 4/5 of 210, and one of the great secrets of mathematics that will save you a lot of stress is that of means times. That is the word, that is the symbol for of. So you get 4/5 of 210. That's how much he's going to keep. So we just need to work it out. Okay, another little secret of mathematics. Anything is itself over 1. 210 is 210 over 1. And now we've got 2 fractions to multiply. Just the magic secrets keep flowing, but so does the itchiness in my nose. It's horrific. Dimitri, you're responsible for this. You are responsible for the fur that's drive me insane. Maybe it's not just Stephanie who's allergic. Goodness me. Right, okay, so another great secret. When you are multiplying fractions, you can do something you cannot do when adding or dividing or subtracting or anything else. You can cancel diagonally. Chom, chom. Okay? So how do we do this? Well, 4 and 1 do not cancel, but 5 and 210 do cancel. Okay? Because 5 goes into 210. How many times does 5 go into 210? There's such an easy way to do this. It's a shortcut that I always teach. If you want to divide something by 5, just like that, divide it by 10, and then double it. Divide 210 by 10, we get 21. Double it, we get 42. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. So, 142. And there we are, 4 times 42. This is also mental arithmetic. What's 4 times 40? Well, 4 times 4 is 16, so 4 times 40 is 160. 4 times 2 is 8, so it's 168. There we are. And with that, how much does he keep himself? He keeps £168. Okay, which is, as we've said, either greedy or generous, depending. I've just got some notes here just to make sure I don't make some absolutely terrible errors, but this is not too tricky, is it really, in the end? It's not too tricky. So just to recap that. He gives an 1/8 away. We can get an 1/8 quite easily because an 1/8 of 24 is 3, so an 1/8 of 240 is 30. Okay? It's mental arithmetic, but I've jotted the working down anyway, although not every step of it. What remains? 210. 240 minus 30, 210. he gives away a fifth of that, which means he keeps 4/5. Okay, you could work out a fifth and then subtract it, but I think it's simpler just to say he keeps 4/5. 4/5 of 210 times is of his times, so it's 4/5 times 210. 210 is 210 over 1, and now we got a nice multiplication. With a multiplication, you can cancel diagonally, lucky us. So we can cancel 5 and 210, because 5 goes into 5 once, and into 210 42 times. Then 4 times 42 is 168. Bingo. The thermometers below show the temperature recorded at midday yesterday and at midnight last night. There we are. They do. What was the temperature midday yesterday in Fahrenheit, in degrees Fahrenheit? So we just read it carefully. Degrees Fahrenheit, midday. That's the one. And so we are here, aren't we? Well, what is that? 50, 70, so that's going to be 60. And each of these, that is not very neat, is it? That really isn't neat what I've done there. Well, no surprises, it was done by me, that's what we want. So 50 to 60, we got 5 of these little dividers, so each of these must be worth 2, so this is 54. Of course it is. We need to write the units, except we don't because they're given to us, lucky us, but always do the check. Always do the check. What was the temperature midnight last night in degrees Celsius? Midnight, degrees Celsius, here we are. Okay, minus 10, notice the minus. 0 to minus 10, we got 5 of these dividers, so each of them is worth 2. Minus 2, minus 4, minus 6. Minus 6 degrees Celsius. Again, we check, but the units have been given to us, which is nice. What is the difference in temperature between midday yesterday and midnight last night in Celsius? Do not find the difference between these, because we need in Celsius, and that was in Fahrenheit. So always read carefully, okay? Always read carefully. Midday yesterday in Celsius is here, ladies and gentlemen. It is not here. It is here. It is there. So we are going up again in 2s. That is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Always good to check. So that's 12. So we've got the difference between 12 degrees Celsius and minus 6 degrees Celsius. Okay? How do you find the difference between things? You can count up or you can subtract, because the difference between things is when you subtract them. Subtract the smaller from the larger. So it's 12 minus 6. Okay, put that in brackets to make it clear. We've got the repeated minus. Now, basic mathematical knowledge. What do you do when you minus a minus? Simply put, minusing a minus reverses the direction. In other words, it becomes a plus. It is 12 plus 6. It is, in fact, 18. 18 degrees Celsius. Now, you can do this intuitively as well. So 12 is here. So from 12 to 0 is 12 degrees Celsius. And from 0 to minus 6 is 6 degrees Celsius. So we add those together and we get 18. Okay, so you can do it like that if you're not confident with subtracting a negative number. But subtracting a negative number does the job. How many minutes are there between 9:23 a.m. and 1:06 p.m.? These questions are very easy if you do them systematically. If you start doing funny things like multiplying and mixing up minutes and hours, no, you're going to get it wrong. You're going to get it wrong. It's going to be a disaster. There are going to be tears, blood on the floor. How many minutes between 9:23 and 1:06? So let's go from 9:23 to 10. Let's do that. How many minutes there? 37. Dead easy. We get from 10 to 1. I'm going to call it 1300 because I'm so fantastically international, but also because when you're doing these things, having a 24-hour clock is useful. It avoids confusion, in my opinion. So this is 3 hours. So 3 times 60 equals 180. And to get to 1:06, that is, you'll be surprised to hear, 6 minutes. So we've got 37, 180, and 6. So we just need to add those together. So 180 plus 37 plus 6 equals 180 plus 43. No harm doing these things in stages. It makes it easier, which is 223, of course it is. 223 minutes. Always check the units to make sure that they are there and that you've done the right thing. And indeed, it is minutes that we've calculated. So we are sorted and happy and moving on to the next question, because we are great like that. What's going on in the comments? Easy 11 plus, cats or dogs, which is better? Cats by a country mile. Sorry, guys. Dogs, stinky creatures. Craven slaves. Dork for Life says that Krishna single. That is a bad tip for 11 plus. Never take notes, especially MVR, MVR. What? What? Sounds like strange advice. Pro tip after watch this, rewind the video and write down the key point for notes on a paper. So that seems like very good advice. Go through and take notes based on what I've said. I'm flattered, but it's also good advice. And then someone adamantly saying you must not take notes on my lesson. Dork for Life, I do not even vaguely understand your point. I don't understand why this is a bad thing to do. It's very evidently a good thing to do. Mystified. Right. Onwards. Nearly there. We're going to question 10 today. We're on question 8 already. What fraction of the above design is shaded to give your fraction in its simplest form? As you always should, unless you're told not to, really. How many hexagons are there in total? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. How many are shaded? 4. Is that our answer? No, because we can simplify it. Both of these numbers divide by, well, they both divide by 2, don't they? 2 out of 6 still divide by 2. 1 out of 3, it's a third. There we are. How many more hexagons need to be shaded so that 3/4 of the design is shaded? Well, 3/4. 3/4 is how many of the 12 hexagons? So times 4 by 3 to get to 12, so 3 times 3 is 9. 9 over 12 is 3/4 in twelfths. 3/4 of 12 is 9. Lots of different ways of saying this, okay? How many of them are already shaded? 4. So 9/12 minus 4/12 equals 5/12. 9 minus 4 is 5. So how many more hexagons do you write 5/12? No, you don't, because you don't need to shade 5/12 of a hexagon, which would be quite difficult, but also irrelevant. You need to shade 5 hexagons, okay? And that's how we get the answer. What fraction of the large rectangle below is shaded? Okay, so in this rectangle we have 8 squares. Okay, how many of them are shaded? I'm a big fan of labeling Dork for Life says no, I meant for VR and NVR. I'm still very confused. Noting things on the question paper is a really good thing to do in reasoning exams. You want to be crossing out bad options, circling things in the pictures, that kind of thing. That's how you're going to do well in the exam. I don't understand this advice. Anyway, what fraction? Let's look at squares. We've got 1 square, 2 square, 3 square. Now, if you look here, this is 2 squares, and half of the 2 squares have been shaded, which means that these 2 together must be a square. So that's our 4th square. Same thing is going on here. We've got 2 squares, half of them has been shaded, so these 2 together must be our 5th square. And here we've got half a square. So 5.5 out of 8. Could you write 5.5 out of 8? Well, you could write it. You could write, you could write your mother is a pterodactyl if you wanted to, but it wouldn't get the marks. You need to give a fraction in its simplest form. That's always implicit. And in its simplest form means the whole numbers that have been reduced to the greatest extent. So 5.5 out of 8. So you could do it more than one way. You could times top and bottom by 10. You could have 55 out of 80. And then you could simplify that. But let's make it simple. 5.5, double it, 11. 8, double it, you get 16. We've got 11 out of 16. Do they simplify? No, they do not, because 11 is a prime number. So that's the answer, 11/16. All right, not too tricky. God, the comments are exploding with fevered debate. Dork for Life said that if you take notes, it would be time wasting. No, you've got some terrible advice here. You've received terrible advice. Obviously, notes that don't help you are time wasting. Obviously, writing down everything you know about language and patterns is a waste of time. But if by taking notes you mean, circling things that are useful, so going, aha, yes, that feature there, how does that compare in this one? Or crossing out things that are wrong, that kind of thing. Obviously, that's useful. It saves time. So taking notes that help you is not a waste of time. Taking notes that don't help you or that waste time, well, that is a waste of time inherently. But just use your common sense. And whenever someone gives you some absolute rule for life that's always true, question it, because normally it's a complete load of nonsense. And this is, I think, an instance of that. Okay, right, 15% as a fraction in its simplest form. So what does percent mean? So you've got 15 per cent. Okay, cent, we can thank the Romans, but probably people before that who gave them chunks of their language. Cent means 100. 15 out of 100, we have to simplify this. What goes into 15 and 100? What goes into 5 and 0? Well, to put it, a number ending in 0 and a number ending in 5, they're both going to divide by 5. That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you, Robert. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 100 divided by 5 is 20. You know that. It's 3 out of 20. Does this simplify any further? No, it doesn't, because 3 is prime. Yes. 3 out of 20. Rowan sends 7 text messages each day. Really? Well, in Maths World, he does. A £5 credit buys him 140 text messages. These are very expensive text messages, people. He's been conned. After today, he received an extra 15% free text messages when he bought his £5 credit. Doesn't matter, it's still a con, this deal. How many days should the credit last? Show you're working. It should last an awful lot longer than it's going to. He sends 7 text messages each day. £5 credit buys him 140 text messages in this scam. Scam. Right. Extra 15% free text messages. 15%, as has been explained to us, 15% is 3/20ths. Okay? So 3/20ths is what out of 140? In other words, what's 15% of 140? You get an extra 15% with this deal. So 3/20ths is what out of 140? 20 to get to 140, we times it by 7, don't we? 20 times 5 is 100, times 6, 120, times 7 is 140. Or 14 divided by 2 is 7, or whatever. It's just, hopefully, you can kind of see that. 3 times 7 is 21. So this is a simple way of finding that 15% of 140 is 21. Magic. You can also work it out other ways. You could do 140 times 0.15. If you want to know why I'm doing that, have a look in my short videos about finding percentages on the channel. Look at the video list. The video list is linked in the description. You'll find the videos on doing percentages. Anyway, whichever method you use, you end up with 21. So, £5 credit buys him 140. Extra 15%, he gets another 21. 140 plus 21 equals 161. Lucky Rowan. Okay. He gets 7 a day. 161 divided by 7 is going to find out how many days this will last. 7 goes into 16 twice. 2 times 7 is 14. That's 2 left over. 7 goes into 21 3 times. 23. It's going to last him exactly 23 days. Last question. In a sponsored walk, Adam took 4 hours and 39 minutes. Okay? Hope it was an interesting route, or he had something good to listen to. Sponsored walk. Maybe he was just motivated by the beauty of the good that he was doing for his charity of choice, which was Woodlouse Rescue Ireland. So anyway, while doing the sponsored walk for Woodlouse Rescue Ireland, Adam took 4 hours and 39 minutes. Billy took 274 minutes, which sounds like a lot when you count it like that. And Charlie took 4 3/5 hours, which is just a very strange way to reckon time, but who am I to complain? Yes, Charlie was doing his sponsored walk on behalf of the Fraction Society, which maybe makes this a little clearer. 4 3/5 hours. So what's 3/5? Oops, that's a 3, honestly. It really isn't. I need to write it again. What's 3/5 of an hour? An hour is 60 minutes. So a bit of cancelling. 5 and 60, so what's a fifth of 60? A tenth is 6, so a fifth is 12. 3 times 12 is 36 over 1, so that's 36. 4 and 3/5 hours is 4 hours and 36 minutes. All right? 274 minutes, so what's that? That is, well, 60 minutes in an hour. We know that 6 goes into 24, 6 times 4, so 240 is 4 hours. So it's 240 plus 34 mins, so it's 4 hours 34, okay? And Adam takes 4 hours 39. So the quickest is obviously the biggest number, it's Adam, isn't it? That is not how you do it. The quickest person takes the least time, so the smallest number. So the quickest person is Billy with 4 hours and 34 minutes. The slowest is Adam with 4 hours and 39. And you're answering who, not how long did they take. So what you need here is their names and not the times that they took. Please just answer the question. Don't do anything else. And that's it, people. That's the answer. Oh, my nose is just so itchy. Dimitri, what are you doing to my nose? It's hellish in here. And it's enormous and it's itchy and it's just chaos. Absolute chaos. Okay. Right. Yes, people are annoyed about the chat. You can just close it. There's a thing to minimize it. But people, please stop being annoying in the chat. Honestly, why are children so annoying? Why? Everyone should just have cats instead. None of this. Okay. Right, I think it's time for the tip of the week. Tip of the week is don't have children because they do this kind of thing. Look at them in the live chat. They're horrible. Don't have them. No, the real tip of the week is, look, as you prepare for your 11 plus, there will be times when things go really smoothly and quickly. And there'll be times when things go slowly. There'll be times when you're just bashing away at the same things and you can't understand why they aren't progressing. People, this is normal. It does not mean that you're weird. It does not mean that you're stupid. It does not mean that you're going to fail your 11 plus. It doesn't mean any of those things. It just happens. It's how learning works. So my tip of the week is just relax about the pace of your learning. Accept that sometimes it's going to go quickly and well, that sometimes it's going to feel a bit harder, and that when it does, you don't need to panic. You don't even necessarily need to force it. Just be steady, keep a little bit of perspective on how you're working, and as long as you're committed to doing as well as you can, things will be okay. And that really is all it comes down to. Take a deep breath. Right, let's see whether there are any exciting So yes, are there any exciting questions today about 11 plus preparation, about maths, about, not about the meaning of life, but Henry says, Robert, the pencil case is amazing. Henry, you are amazing for spreading the word about pencil cases. People, do you know how you get a pencil case? You become a member of the channel. Members get all kinds of benefits. They don't get Dimitri's fur in their nose, that's the first benefit. They also get things like the amazing pencil case proclaimed by Henry and an amazing Easy 11 Plus pen, which I don't have one handy to show you. Oops. Yeah, you get things like loads of extra videos going through past papers from various schools, one question at a time, and they are in the members section of the channel just for members. And if you join as a Dimitri level member or higher, then you get access to all those videos, and if you join at the first level, Robert, because Robert is less than Dimitri, you get access to a good number of them. And members at higher levels can send me work for individual feedback. And individual feedback involves me going through your work and going through it line by line and very carefully looking at it and then leaning into my microphone and providing voice comments and saying, this is wonderful because you are a star and also because you've used a metaphor here very well. But have you considered how this metaphor could be made even better if you thought about this thing? And so on and so forth, and also looking at things like your comprehension and going, but if you look at the wording of the question there, you'll see that actually you haven't quite done enough for the 5.5 marks that are available here. So anyway, that kind of thing. And then normally at the end of a piece of work, when I finish I'm doing marketing now. When I finish marking it, I give you a nice little video in which I talk about all the ways in which you are wonderful and the ways in which you could become more wonderful. So yeah, lots of benefits for channel members. If this is all news to you, if you're watching this on a computer in particular, click the join button underneath the video. It's next to the subscribe, and that will tell you about the options of channel membership. If you're watching it on mobile or any other format, go into the video description and click on the link for becoming a member. That will not do anything magic, neither will join. It'll just take you to the page where you learn more about membership and can decide whether to become a member. Other thing you might want to explore is 11 Plus Lifeline. Look at 11 Plus Lifeline in the video description. It is my big 11 Plus service in which I make your life complete. Right. Is it very good to write too much? Asked somebody. I think the answer is in the question. Too much is too much. It is superfluous. It's more than you need. It is too much. It involves wasting time in your exam. You want to be writing the right amount for whatever it is that you're doing. If you're talking about a story, the trouble with writing loads and loads is that you tend to rush, you tend to make mistakes. You also don't have time to really think about making what you write really good. So there's a good middle ground, which is not really short, but also isn't long for the sake of being long. What is not funny? This is a bit of paper held backwards. That is not funny. Tips for writing or maths. There's must be getting on for 150 videos in this channel, many of which are about writing and maths. I'm not going to be summarizing them now, but watch the videos. They're all there. You can see them. Any tips on creative writing? Yes, watch my videos. Somebody's very excited about the fact my creative writing book is coming. That's wonderful. I hope it's great. My interview is in 3 days. How do I prepare? If you go to the RSL Educational website, RSL Educational, it's my website. Go to the part of the website called Exam Advice and School Guides, which is my blog, basically, where I've got articles, most of them fairly old, but should still be useful. There's an article there on interviews and what you should be doing to prepare and what you shouldn't be doing. Have a look at that. Can you please make more videos about the Kent test? I have already got at least one video, I think 2 videos explicitly about the Kent test. And then it's like loads of other exams, so all my stuff pretty much is useful for the Kent test. Dolly Liz says, shout out for one of my best friends, Noah Lewis Lega, I'm not sure, because he is the one who referred me to you, Robert. High Overlord of the Universe at Easy 11 Plus, and he is probably watching you right now. Oh, High Lord of the Universe, Noah Lewis Lega. Thank you for making a recommendation. I hugely appreciate it when people do that. And you have entirely earned your title of High Lord of the Universe, I think. Malini, they're going to remove CEM. It's just going to be GL now. What should I do? From the tone of your question, I can only say that the answer is cry, really. Why were you so attached to that particular exam board? Do you have shares in CEM? Any tips on creative writing? Yes, watch all my zillions of videos on it. Mr. Robert Stupendous Lomax, my tuition teacher said I have to learn my times tables up to the 50 times table. Do I have to do this? I think your tuition teacher was joking. Can you do compression? My mum bought your creative writing book. I'm so exciting. I'm glad that you're exciting. I do not understand the connection with my creative writing book. It's so much more fun just making fun of people in the comments than trying to answer the questions that I know they really mean. Sir, I invited my friend. Oh, I appreciate being called Sir. Makes me feel very important. Very old, but then I am very old, so, you know. What is the secret of VR, NVR, maths and English, if only I knew? CEM or GL? Yeah, indeed, that is the question. I've done my exams. Well done to you. How do we create writing? Philosophical. Can you do compression? I love these questions. Is Wolverhampton Grammar School hard to get in? Yes, if you're not a very strong candidate. If you are a very strong candidate, then there's still, with any 11 plus test, there's a big degree of lottery to it. It depends how things go on the day. There's a lot of chance involved. It's always hard, but the whole thing can be fun if you approach it as a bit of a game and you understand that you're going to be fine anyway. Something I keep saying in these videos. If you're someone who works this hard, who watches extra videos after school, who really cares about doing their best in the 11 plus, you are going to be fine whatever happens, even if you don't get into your preferred schools. Just remember that. How do we do creative writing? By what? Just watch my videos on it, people. Goodness me. It's not like I'm going to tell you how to do creative writing now. I can't summarize it in 30 seconds. Then you'd all be, you'd all be running off and being, Tolstoy or something. Can you also do creative writing videos? I do creative writing videos all the time. Have you not looked at my channel? What are you doing here? What are you doing? Look at my channel. Before I have a heart attack. People, in the video description, there is a video list. It is a list of all my videos. Have a look at it. Have a look at it. For the sake of my poor heart. Do we do history lessons and shout out to my cat? Do we do history lessons and shout out to my cat? I don't know. Do you? That seems to me a relatively strange combination of activities, but you certainly could. I don't tend to do history lessons on this channel because it isn't tested at 11 plus. Sadly, perhaps, but yeah. Louisa's cat is called Sky and sits on her lap when she is sad. Cats are brilliant, and yes, I agree. And shout out to Sky. So people are still asking me if I can do creative writing videos. I don't know how many times and how many different ways I can answer this question by saying I make these videos all the time. What on earth are you on about? Can I do compression? People, what are you doing? Where did you put your brains today? Where? Right, before I go, before you drag me down to your level, I think I'm going to leave you in peace. It's been wonderful to have you here. Thank you for doing your maths. Thank you for all your beautiful attention to all the maths. Is Furball here? He's over there. I'm not going to grab him now. I'm just going to say, check the links in the video description. Find out about 11 Plus Lifeline. It's linked there. If you don't know what it is, then please find out. It could make a big difference in your 11 Plus preparation, possibly. Yes, I'm plugging myself, but then you probably like what I do, or you wouldn't be here. So that's how to have more of what I do. Look at 11 Plus Lifeline, Google it, or check the link in the video description. That'll do. All right, see you next Tuesday for more maths from City of London School for Boys. Bye-bye. Oh, I've earned this. It's cold. Cold coffee. Terrible. And my nose is itchy. Dimitri, what are you doing? What are your furs doing?